and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today we're back talking about user-defined functions. And specifically, what I see is kind of the looming nightmare that's going to be created by DAX UDFs, user-defined functions. And we're also going to we'll touch on this concept of a central library for UDF functions and things like or UDFs and that sort of thing as well. But so anyway, to get started on this, I'm bringing up this star 100 million. So this is where I've been proving that 100 million row flat table is just as fast, if not actually, it's actually faster overall than a star schema and using calculate and time intelligence and all of that. So, and in here, right, we've got this year-to-date 100 million, which is this measure. So now this is SQL BI's, the way that they present it out in their flat versus star schema article. This is how they present it out, how to calculate year to date using calculate and date and time intelligence function, dates YTD, right? So now we can take this, right? We can take this, and this is the definition of this as a UDF, right? It takes a fact table column, any reference, a dim date column, any reference, and a dim date table as a table. So we've got this, right? And we can use this in our within DAX, right? And it's pretty simple, right? That's what this one is right here, Y to date. So here you can see a good example. So I'm passing it in year to date, fact, internet sales 100 million, total product cost, dim date, full alternate key, dim date, right? And it works, it's just fine. The problem is that we already know that this is not going to be the end state for DAX UDFs, right? Because we already know trust me, I've taken over enough like models from other people that develop where they nest their measures like all over the place, where you have like 2 levels or 3 levels or 5 levels or 10 levels right deep of just nested measures that all build up to a measure, right? We know that it's probably more likely that this kind of stuff is going to look like this eventually, right? Where it's like my dates YTD takes the date any column, right? And dates YTD. So it's broken up. So this is this is what it'll look like initially. My YTD, so it's going to be fact table column, dim date table, right? And then calculate some 2 filters, and it passes in the fact table column and then uses another, that's a UDF, right? Then uses another UDF for my dates YTD, and then another UDF for my all, right? All this stuff. And you're probably thinking, Greg, nobody's going to like wrap, just a UDF around an all function in that. Well, you'd be surprised, okay? You'd be surprised. But yeah, could you actually, and this is just an example, again, with a trivial example. Like you take a more complex DAX measure, right? Absolutely, you're going to have these nested UDFs, right? And then how in the world are you going to debug that stuff, right? Because you can debug it here in this window by using this evaluate stuff, but then you have to write all these individual test use cases, right, in DAX code to test all the possible ways that this thing could be used within the context. And that's the key to all of this, is the context, right? Versus like, what does it look like here? And I can add filters and add all the different context things that I want and do it, right? I talked about this in an earlier video. So that's the first problem, is that like, how in the world, like this is going to be, it's just going to be as much of a nightmare, if not more, than trying to debug and troubleshoot, something that has all these nested measures all over the place, right? It's going to be absolutely god awful. It's going to be a nightmare, right? And we've all been there, right? And like, for example, like, let's say like back in the day, you're like, oh, these enterprise Java beans, these things are at their best practice. They're hot and new. Everybody's talking about them. There's all this hype around them. I'm going to go all in on my next Java project and use enterprise Java beans everywhere, right? And so you do that, and then you come back to it like a year later, and you're like, what in the hell was past me thinking, right? Why didn't I just use Spring, right? And I simplified my life, right? It's exactly what I see happening with these UDFs to a large degree. People are going to over-engineer this stuff and create these just monstrosities of semantic models with UDFs littered all over them, and they're going to hate themselves when they go back and visit it a year later and be like, what was I doing, right? I can see it as clear as day. So that's the first problem with these UDFs that I kind of anticipate. I'm not saying don't use them, but just go into it with eyes wide open that whatever you build out with UDFs, you're going to have to support and maintain like over time. And you may not come to realize, that that was a bad idea, right? Because it happens, right? We've all been there, within our technology careers. We've all been there and done stupid things like that. So I'm just saying, just be aware of that potential issue. All right. Now, the other thing that I want to, because like for instance, if I do this and say define all functions in this model, it's like I gotta wade through this code to and get to the beginning of it, right? It's not this one, it's not this one, it's not this one, it's not, there it is, my YTD, right? That's the start of it, right? And then I mean, this format just looks god awful to me. I don't know how you manage anything in this, right? And manage it this way. This is a nightmare. So anyway, so there's that, right? And now probably some of you are out there saying, well, look, Greg, and I've had some of these comments like, look, there's going to be these libraries of these UDFs, and we just have to go and grab that UDF and plug it in here, and it's going to be, bing, bang, boom, and it's going to be super easy to do this stuff. Okay, except there's some very important, it's just going to be just like grabbing a Python library. Okay, that's fine, except that it's not how it's going to work, okay? With Python code, if you take some Python code and you run it over here, over there, it all runs the same. You get the same answers and everything else. DAX doesn't work that way. DAX, you have to worry about context. And if you're going to write a DAX expression, right, you're going to have to make some assumptions around that context. And to demonstrate this, right, I can go back here. Let's say that I have, here's a Y to date total. Right? Y to date total is using that time intelligence total YTD, sum the fact internet sales, total product cost, and I pass it dim date, full date, alternate key. Except what if I have a flat table, right? I don't have a date dimension. And you're like, oh, Greg, blah, blah, blah. The majority of semantic models out there are flat tables. They're one big table. That's the majority of semantic models out there, okay? So you can say what you want, but the reality will not change. All right, so then I'm going to put in order date, right? Something like this, right? And in fact, in this model, the date dimension is tied to the order date. So you'd say, oh, we're going to get the same answers, except you don't, right? And the reason you don't is because there are assumptions made for total YTD, right? It assumes that there is a star schema with a separate date dimension and da. And UDFs are going to have to make some of the same assumptions. A lot of the UDFs that are going to be out there are going to be making the same exact assumptions, right? Now, here's the other thing about a central library that I'll say, is that why in the world would I use somebody else's central library UDF where it calculates it this way, right? This is the SQL BI way, when I know full well for a fact that the way I calculate Y year to date is actually significantly faster, like almost twice as fast, right? So for example, I can start recording, refresh the visuals, right? And here's no calculate at 81 milliseconds versus 129, right? 85, 128. So these are all using, is the calculate, right? 108, so 127 versus 85. So why would I use somebody else's garbage like DAX code that they have put into a library as a UDF when I know for a fact that it is significantly slower than my own DAX code that I would write? Why would I want to use somebody else's garbage DAX code? It's slow and terrible, right? Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense to me. So you're going to be picking things from this library where the code, one, makes a lot of assumptions about your data model that may or may not be correct, and two, has a good possibility that it's slow and garbage code, okay? So if you want to sign yourself up for that, that's on you at that point, but I want no part of that, right? I would rather use good performant DAX code versus somebody else's garbage code. That's just me. So there you have it. That is how I kind of view the this looming UDF debacle that is probably about to befall the Power BI community in to a large degree, at least within certain circles. Not the majority of people, because the majority of people won't use UDFs at all. But that's another video. So that's all I had for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.